Hello, Mary Meet. So I want to review a book today. And the book I want to review is The Complete Guide to Clinical Aromatherapy and Essential Oils for the Physical Body by Elizabeth Ashely. And this is a pretty big and heavy book, and I sort of like it. I'm not completely sure what the Sacred Healer means, but I think that might be the book series, that there are several books in this, sorry for bumping the camera around, but there are several books with aromatherapy and herbal healing in the series, but I'm not sure. But yeah, the complete guide to clinical aromatherapy. So, first of all, let me just say that this has that very icky, false, fabricy feel to it. And either make a book actually bound in fabric, or don't try to make it feel like that. But yeah, other than that, the cover is fine. So let's start with the index, as I usually do when I review books, if I can actually find it. Now, one thing you might be interested in seeing is that the book, while big, does relatively big letters. Now, this can be a boon and a flaw. I find this book to be quite comfortable to read. It's the spacing between the lines are significant, and that the letters are a bit bigger means that it's not a strain on the eye to read this. On the other hand, that means there's a lot less knowledge in this book than it would if there were smaller letters. Anyway, let's go to the table of contents that I finally found. We have introduction, which is pretty self-explanatory. Then we have a table of content. Yes, thank you, we know we are on it. We have chapter 1, the history of aromatherapy, chapter 2, what is aromatherapy, and chapter 3, how do we know what an oil can do. This is basically the basic, what are aromatherapy, how has it been used, and the basic one-on-one on what this healing form is. Now, if you have some knowledge about aromatherapy from before, then this section isn't really necessary for you, but it's not badly written, it works quite well, and it means that this book might be of interest to a beginner as well. So then we go to the chemistry of essential oils, terpenes, phenols, aldehydes, ketones, and esters, lactones, and curamins. And I'm sure I butchered some of those pronunciations. But yes, it's basically the different ways to make essential oils, different methods to get the oils themselves. And this basically goes through those methods as well as the chemistry of the oil itself. This basically are the part of the healing method that even the skeptics can get, because you can, unlike, for example, several other plant-based methods where you thin things down. Oh no, it's completely. Of course, I know the word. I have been using this method. Just that it certainly disappeared from my mind, but you know what I'm talking about. You just tin something down and tin something down and tin something down until there's nothing left there. That, the skeptics, they just don't find anything because there's nothing there to find. With aromatherapy, it's a bit different because you can say that, yes, these oils have an actual effect. So that, for example, there's some oils in Norway that you can only get through an official drugstore because they are now considered to be medicines, because their effects have been proven. Homeopathy, that's the word. I think I just got up on the stupid side of bed today. Anyway, with that you can't find anything. With aromatherapy you can. But yes. Then you have botany of essential oils, chemotypes and headspace. Basically, also is pretty self-explanatory. We are more into basically the basic ideas of the plants. And then we have the extraction of essential oils, which basically talks about the various forms of distillation, the various forms of that was wrong as I remembered it. That was in that chapter above. This is actually their own chapter for that. Basically, then the chapter above was just the chemicals. Well, here you have the various forms of distillation. How do you go from plant to oil? So basically, all of these sections here are it's a fairly short chapters. I think it's all of those I have listed there are about 10 pages, isn't it? Yeah, 15. But it goes basically give you an idea of how these oils are made and what makes them work from a clinical point of view. And then we have essential oil grading systems, which is basically what quality oil is it. This is extremely important because that actually comes to bear when you're buying oils. Because sometimes you can see an oil and it looks pretty cheap and so on and so forth, and then you see that it's a very poor grade. And you might want to then to spend a little bit more to get a good quality oil. And then we have sustainability, a bit about the environment here, and then we have choosing essential oils, how to store essential oils, basically all of those things that you will need to know about how to treat your oils right. Then you have chapter 4, how to use essential oils. And we have how much oil should you use. That's pretty important. We have carrier oils, because most essential oils are so concentrated that you can't use it directly on the skin. There's a few exceptions, such as, for example, rosemary and tea tree oil. Those you can use directly on the skin, but most oils are so concentrated that it would just irritate the skin. You have to have a carrier oil to mix it into to be able to apply it to the skin. And here's basically what carrier oils, and it's a pretty big section on carrier oils because they, of course, also have their own qualities. So you have almond oil, apricot kernel, borage, candelabra, camellia, coconut, evening primrose, hazelnut, jasmine, jojoba, peace kernel, rosehip, sea buckhorn, and St. John's wort. Yeah, I don't have to list all of these carrier oils. I do really like that the book has a big section on carrier oils, because that's a lot of books on aromatherapy skimps on that, but it is a very important part of learning this method of healing. So, then we get to where to apply essential oils, ways to apply essential oils, which basically tells itself with this. We have creams and lotions, massage oils, in the bath, diffusers, candles, room sprays, steam, inhalation, compresses, hot compress, cold compress, homeopathic dose, the raindrop techniques, neuroauricular technique, aroma touch. That's basically various forms that you can use it. Quite useful. Then you have safety data, which is also very important because, like I said, unlike some methods, but I think that even those you can do harm with, but these oils definitely they have a clinical effect. You have to be careful what you're doing. You have massage, different types of massage, benefits of massage, and yeah, there's a long list of things here that goes to teach you the basics of massage. I would not necessarily go with this book for that. I would go with getting a book about massage, or a class, or even watch a YouTube video where you can see it being done, rather than reading about it in a book like this, because it will be somewhat limited, but all in all, it's relatively okay. Yeah. Chapter 5, How to Blend Essential Oils. This is a very good chapter, because that's also something that a lot of books skims on. The various methods to blend and combine them. Then we have a list of ailments. That's a pretty good section of this book. Basically, just have a long list of ailments and what oils are recommended. And of course, I would have to say that with all forms of alternative therapy, if it is a serious illness, you go to the doctor first. And unlike, for example, hands-on healing and a few other things that basically works in its own little world, essential oils do have a chemical effect on the body, meaning you should inform your physician if you're planning on using it, so that he or she can tell you whatever or not the medicines you are taking will have an interaction with the oils. Remember, safety first. And there's a long list of those. It has a good index, this book. You could do that. Long list. Then we have chapter 8, oils for the systems, respiratory system, urinary system, digestive system. Yeah, you know all the systems. Then we have a skin, a nervous system, and mental cleaning. Then we have some essential oil recipes, a professional aromatherapist, which is various forms of blends, like aphrodisiac blend, depression blend for ladies of a certain age, children's cuts and scrapes blend. That's quite useful. And then you have a conclusion, acknowledgements, directory, medical glossary about the author, other books in the Secret Healer series. Oh, I was right, it was a... I just didn't notice that when I read it the first time. And works cited. So, is this a good book? Yeah, it's a pretty good book. It cuts to the chase. It has a lot of information. And I would say that you can pick up this book and a few oils. You can go from not knowing anything about aromatherapy to be able to use it quite effectively to treat everyday ailments and troubles. Just remember that when you're working with aromatherapy, it's important to think safety. And it could still be very, very useful to take an actual class, but I am very pleased with this book. There's a lot of information without the information being overwhelming. The index are awesome. It's very easy to find exactly the oil you're looking for. This is definitely a book to keep handy and easily available on your shelf. Now, you will not find a lot of spiritual stuff in this. A lot of people, me included, do use aromatherapy oils in various forms of spiritual healing techniques, and also for rituals and so on and so forth. This book will not give you any of that. It goes just with basically what uses it has on the physical body and so on and so forth. But I think that's kind of nice. It doesn't bite over more than it can chew. So yeah, here's an example for how they write up the various oils. It lists of what it's used for, what it's historically used for, and so on and so forth. I think I will give this book a 9 out of 10. It is very good. It is well written, easy to read. There is a lot of information there, and the information are easily available. It's not like you have to dig through the books to find it. Just open up the directory and it's there. It's probably not a book that you sit and read from one page to the other. You read the articles that you find interesting, and then you more just find the sections that you want about some oil ailment that you are going to be working with. But yeah, as such a reference book, I think this is awesome and I highly recommend it. That is my review of The Complete Guide to Clinical Aromatherapy and Essential Oils for the Physical Body by Elizabeth Ashely. Is that how it supposed to be pronounced? Ashely? Ashely something? This woman wrote this book, and she did a very good job of it. So yeah, I am pleased with my purchase. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. Have a great day, and blessed be.